This is What's in It for Me, helping the entire world secure basic needs so you can concentrate on your financial growth, helping you find what options are available, and helping provide free resources. Your host holds degrees in business, political science, and sociology, and he's an expert in socialization and stratification. This is What's in It for Me, and this is your host, Dr. Kenneth Pierce.
Hello, good evening, and happy Friday. Today I am here with a special guest, Doreen.
Hello.
This is my dearest Doreen, and today we're here to talk about what we got today out of the AMA from Saitama and why it's important to you guys. So I want to be very, very straightforward and let you know that we are actually holders of the Saitama token, and we do have a financial interest in the asset. And so we will try to be as balanced as possible, but just thought we should put that out there. So let's start with what I believe should be the obvious, and that is, unlike some small tokens or even larger ones, if you will, in the startup phase, we're no longer really a community-based token. This is not a community-driven token. And in the words of the Seattle Seahawks, we have to let Russ cook. Meaning, this token and our investment is going to live and die by the choices that Russ and Saitama LLC makes. And for those of you who are unaware, Russ is the chief operations officer of Saitama LLC. And therefore, the decisions that he makes with regard to the day-to-day business decisions of Saitama are the ones that we will either succeed with or fail with. So we can't expect Russ to operate like some other developers and some other projects, because this isn't that. What do you think, Dee?
I think you're right on the money. That's one of the things I was thinking about while we were watching. I like the idea of AMAs. I think they feel really good. They are common and community-driven things, fireside chats, things like that. But we can't expect Russ to be able to give us everything that we're asking. He can't give us every answer that we want at the time if he determines that it's not in the best interest of Saitama LLC at the moment.
Yeah. So to that point, I guess we're moving on to the second thing I want to put on your plates today, folks, and that is these AMAs, instead of ask me anything, they're ask me almost anything, but at the same time, don't necessarily expect that I can give you the answer to what it is you want to know. Like any business, some things can be stated publicly and other things will need to be held back.
You know what? This reminds me of one of the things that we tell our girls. As parents, we encourage our kids to ask us anything they want to know. What we're trying to tell them now, as they get older, is to think about what kinds of answers they can find for themselves or how they can be critical in their thinking. Because if they ask us a question right now, they are almost requiring that we deal with their question right now. And we tend to have this conversation a lot while we're driving in the car. All of your questions aren't necessarily my priority at this time, especially for safety. And so when I think about this position that we put Russ and the rest of the developers in, especially in something called an AMA, we ask them to give us answers to whatever it is we ask them at the time. And I think that means we have an inappropriate mindset while we are attending these AMAs. There was one time very recently, within the last week, I think, where, he said that all of the holders the members of the Wolf Pack, they're brand ambassadors. And so while we're thinking about the responsibilities that he and the rest of the team has, we have to think about the responsibilities that we have. I think this is a really powerful statement, and it fits right into the Saitama mission of making sure that people know about this as an opportunity and how to access the kinds of resources that they need, especially through finances. So more than just holders of Saitama, as brand ambassadors, it means that we have a responsibility for the brand as well.
Absolutely. And chief among those folks is the chief operations officer, who has to make decisions in the best interest of Saitama. And it goes back to my original point. We have to trust that the right person is in charge of the job and that he's going to do his best, not just for us, but for the business as a whole, that he has Saitama LLC's best interest in mind. With that said, though, I do want to, on balance, I want to say that the onus is also on Russ to not promise bombs if he's got no bombs, or if he cannot safely, effectively deliver the bomb. Even if he has the information but he can't let it go, then he should not be setting the expectation that high for quote unquote bombs if he can't deliver them.
I think that's the case too. Part of the whole idea of that is the strategy in releasing information. And so some of that release of information includes, when I'm going to give you updates and announcements, because if you promise it, then people will have some expectation of it.
Yep. So on the third and final point that I think that we've all grown quite fond of this practice from Saitama is transparency. And I think that there is a desire to maintain that transparency, that we will continue to get the Friday meetings, but we should see them more as updates from board meetings and decisions as a top-down organization, and be happy that we get to hear firsthand the decisions that were made, as opposed to feeling like, that we have 57,000 COOs instead of just one COO. So in other words, every person who's an interested party, every invested person can't necessarily have a say, and therefore shouldn't feel bad if the things that are carried out aren't exactly the way that they wish they had been.
But you're right though. We have grown to really love this kind of transparency. Full disclosure, I am personally really new to understanding the cryptocurrency markets and some of these tokens and these projects. And so the things that I am excited about in Saitama, I don't personally have very many things to compare it to, except for when I am, looking across the board now. And so this transparency is one of the things that I know that we like about this project. It's one of the reasons why we always talk about Saitama as different and a leader in the evolution of crypto tokens and crypto projects. That we know and see the developers all the time is a big deal, and it says something about our ability to trust their direction and intentions. And so I really enjoy that. But I was thinking maybe instead of calling these AMAs, we should call them Wolfpack updates.
Sure.
Because when we name things, the language that we use is important, the things that we call it. So if we leave it as an AMA, the Wolfpack gets disappointed if we don't get an answer because we asked for something, and we leave trying to figure out how to put a positive spin on disappointment. Well, Russ didn't tell us that, but that's okay. Problem is, if people read us saying that on Twitter, then it looks like we're trying to convince ourselves that it was okay that we didn't get something that we wanted.
Correct. And then otherwise, if we are at all critical in some disorganized fashion, it appears that we're flooding our own interest. And that doesn't make sense either.
Right. I think we need to really change our own mindset as the Wolfpack and think about these as weekly meetings, board meetings, where we get the update that they provide us. They don't have to, but they do. And I think we all appreciate that. But it also requires that we know our own place in the organization. This is where we get our charging orders. This is where we learn what's going on, so we know how to push Saitama to the next level. We want to know what we should be trying to do in the next week to add fuel to the rocket.
Absolutely. That's all we have for today. Well, I take it back. I want you to know one more thing. Why is it that we are even bothering to give you these updates?
I think it's important for us to always be thinking about how we are intentional in the activities that we participate in. Again, full disclosure, we have some financial interest in the success of Saitama. That said, the reason why we are interested in Saitama, not just for our personal growth, but because we strongly believe that there are lots of resources that people need in order to have their best life chances. And sometimes they just don't know where they are. And so we try to do our best to make sure that people know where they can get those resources. That's how you grow and develop, by being able to take care of your most basic needs.
And for those of you who are not familiar with me, as you're coming newly to hear and see our content, please do recognize that I come from a position of expertise in terms of organizational success. You're more than happy to visit our website, epicnonprofit.org, where you can learn more about me in particular, or more about this project in general. We will continue to provide these updates. We look forward to providing benefit to the community by making sure Saitama is successful, and therefore being able to assist people locally with acquiring Saitama, so that the word of Saitama can grow, so that the benefit aspect can be disseminated widely amongst people who are not necessarily your typical crypto client. And so we will look forward to getting your feedback. Please let us know what you think about this episode, and feel free to challenge anything that we've said, provide any comment, and we will definitely respond at our earliest convenience. Thanks again.
You've been listening to What's in It for Me. In order to concentrate on your financial growth, first you need the basics: food, water, warmth, rest, safety, security. And with Dr. Kenneth Pierce's help, you're on your way. We truly hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from this show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. The show will be back soon. But in the meantime, visit the website at epicnonprofit.org. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you soon.